Hello everybody! Salty Ren back here with another episode of Swooning Over Stans, the Grunkle dating sim, fan-made game based on Gravity Falls. Now, in the last episode we had quite the no, that was 2 episodes ago I'm thinking of. I was about to be like, oh yeah, last episode we did like the clown painting in the cars. No, that was 2 episodes ago. Last episode, we wound up doing the goat and the pig wedding. And we were the ring bearer for that, and we also wound up getting interrogated by Mabel about our intentions with her Grunkle Stan. Or Dipper was the one who was more upset. Mabel was more wanting to plan everything. Regardless, those two definitely are looking out for their Grunkles. So, let's see what Mabel has in store. Something about a fishing trip, I think it was? So, you slip out of a dream and back into your room in real life, except it's virtual life. The sky is light outside, and groggily, you feel regret as you realize Waddle's comforting weight isn't there anymore. Wait, that's not what you're regretting. You're regretting the end of what you feel like was a really good dream. Stan had taken you with him to the lake, you think, and somehow ended up in the water. Sunlight streamed down on him as he grinned at you, his white shirt sticking wet to skin. Oh boy. That'd be a date, alright, but it's the last thing you're expecting from today. Laughing quietly at yourself, you glance at the clock to see it's time to get ready for the day anyway. A little while later, and you're dressed for a day at the lake, meaning dressed for a regular day of summer. You're not sure what to expect, so you kept it casual. You would have eaten breakfast with Stan and the kids, but you were barred from the kitchen by Mabel, who was shielding you from a surprise. Instead, you were handed a slice of toast topped with an oddly cheerful sunny-side-up egg and waved outside. Okay. I wonder what the surprise is. Now that you're out in the sunlight, you can see that Mabel stuck a smiley face sticker on top of the egg. You peel it off with a shrug and dig in. How does a sticker stick to an egg? Like, eggs are typically like a little wet and greasy. A sticker would not stick to that. I guess you just put it on there regardless. Leaning against the scarlet door of the El Diablo, you stare up at the totem pole outside the shack, thinking about how it both stands out and fits perfectly in with the shack's aesthetic. It's obviously part of the weirdness of the tourist stop, but you're not sure why. It looks pretty well made, even if it's kind of creepy that whenever you move, the eyes at the top seem to follow you. Is that a thing that happens in the show? I'll have to double check. Like, do the eyes of the totem pole always face the camera or something? Always face the viewer? I don't know. Suddenly, the front door of the house bursts open, and a flurry of sequins and glittery hair clips flies out, attached to a very excited Mabel.
Ren, are you ready?
You're not spying any conspiratory nudges or winks, so you kind of think Mabel's dropped the whole date setup thing, at least for the moment. For what? Fishing?
Yeah, aren't you excited? This isn't just regular lake fishing. This is Lake Gravity Falls fishing, where adventure awaits. Danger is hot on your heels, and the islands shift and move in the corners of your eyes.
I'm sorry, the what move? Are we talking about Scuttlebutt Island? I love telling that one. So we were out on the shore, right? And we saw this giant... Hey, you kids better not be giving Ren that lake monster story again. I think I know what they're talking about. There is a special thing called Dipper's Guide to the Unexplained. If you haven't checked it out, go watch Dipper's Guide to the Unexplained about the tooth. That is a good one, and first time watching it terrified me, so. But it is good. Go ahead and watch that. Stan comes out of the shack with several fishing rods in the crook of his arm, as well as a large tackle box in his right hand. In his other hand are 4 fishing hats with haphazard embroidery on the front of 2 of them. A closer look reveals that there are actually names stitched onto the hats, reading Mabel and Dippy. Aw. Grunkle Stan, you don't have to pretend not to believe us anymore. I swear it really happened. It just rose right out of the water and started chasing us.
And we had to row back as fast as we could, and was speaking in creepy monster language and...
What did I say?
No more of that monster talk or you're gonna scare Red away!
Both kids look a little disappointed, but leave it at that. Stan puts on a smile and drops Dipper and Mabel's respective fishing hats on their heads, and Mabel tugs hers on while running to the car while Dipper follows, exchanging his usual hat for the fishing one. Stan looks out after them, then turns to face you.
Kids love to exaggerate. Pretty sure it wasn't that terrifying. Besides, I've been through worse. You hear that? You hear that, kids? Only your Grunkle Stan's got the right to complain.
Stan hefts his fishing supplies over to one arm, using the other to dig around in his pocket for the car keys. He tosses the rods, hats, and fishing and tackle box inside. Mabel's hand darts in before Stan can close the trunk, grabbing a hat. Before you can tell what it says, it's shoved into your hands, and you smooth out the fabric to read, Wren. Stan groans.
Mabel, I thought I told you I wasn't gonna give it to them!
But you worked so hard on stitching it this morning! You even got the letters the right way on! Mostly!
I wouldn't be surprised if the E was backwards or something. Oh well. That'd be pretty adorable. Mabel gets in the back seat next to Dipper, leaving you to look at the hat more closely. The sewing is a little messy and one of the letters is backwards, but Stan clearly put some amount of care into it. Speaking of Stan, he's staring at the hat Mabel shoved at you, thinking of something to say. Did you really make this for me? Stan scratches the back of his head and shrugs a little.
Yeah, Mabel wouldn't let me leave until I made you one. She said it was nicer if all of us had some matching hats or something.
I'm gonna put the hat on. Why not? You put it on and beam at Stan. He doesn't respond, just reaching up and closes the trunk, but you see he looks almost too privately pleased to give comment.
Come on, let's get to the lake before all those tourists take the good parking spots!
The parking lot is far less packed than Stan made it out to be. The weather brought out the true fishing fanatics, and you recognize a few customers from the Shack's gift shop milling about. There are a couple clouds out, but the sunshine is warm against your skin as you step out of the car, and you shield your eyes from the light as you look out over the lake. A few boats bobbing up and down the blue-gray water sport telltale signs of fellow fishers with poles sticking out over the boat's edges, but some people are just relaxing in the water. Families sit on beach towels and sunbathe, and you spot a couple kids standing in line for a hot dog stand. For a small town, this place is pretty lively. Mabel and Dipper run out to the shore, where a splash from Mabel soon devolves the moment into a contest of who can splash who worst. You grin at them in their laughter, but a quiet grunt from behind you catches your attention. Left to get everything out of the trunk, Stan struggles to get the fishing equipment out without dropping anything. I'll help him carry the poles, why not? Hey, need some help? Stan glances up at you.
It's not really that much, you know.
Not even a couple poles? Stan considers this for a moment, then hands you 2 of the 4 fishing poles.
Think you can hold your own?
What, under the crushing weight of a couple fishing poles? I think I can manage. You hear Mabel's voice from the distance away to the shore.
Truce! Truce! Hold on! I've got a phone call!
You see Mabel taking out her cell phone as Dipper takes the opportunity to start wringing out parts of his shirt.
Okay, I'll be there in 5. Bye, Grenda!
Mabel hangs up and rushes to you and Stan.
Grunkle Stan, I'm really sorry, but an emergency is happening right as we speak!
What, is somebody dying?
No, the opposite! A birthing!
What?
Grenda Jr. is having a baby right now, and Grenda needs me there for motherly support! Grunkle Stan, you gotta let me go!
Stan scratches his head and frowns.
I don't know, sweetie. I thought we were all gonna go fishing today. Can't you hold it in? Isn't that thing that happens?
No, and it's not every day I get to see the wonders of iguana childbirth! Grunkle Stan, please!
Mabel gives him those patented Mabel puppy eyes. Stan lets out a heavy sigh, shakes his head, and smiles.
All right, Pumpkin, go on. I know your friend is waiting for you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you!
Mabel wraps her arms around Stan's waist and gives him a strong hug, her wide grin never faltering. She then lets go and grabs Dipper's wrist before dashing off.
I'm taking Dipper for moral support!
Wait, I didn't agree to this! Mabel! Mabel! I thought lizards hatched from eggs?
Thought so too, but heck, I've seen weirder. Best not to question it, kid.
Before you delve too deeply into the thought of live-birthed lizards, the phone buzzes in your pocket. You pull it out, and it's a text from Mabel.
Hi, Ryan! I fixed you up so that you get a whole day with Grunkle Stan. Have fun! Winky face. Oh shoot, I gotta go. Granda says Granda is getting closer to baby time. See ya!
That clever little devil.
Something wrong?
Nah, just Mabel saying she's gonna be sending lots of pictures of the newborn lizard.
Well, come on. Let's get to fishing before it gets dark out.
Towards the end of the first pier, docked with only a frayed length of rope, is a sad-looking dinghy with the words Stan-O-War brushed on in thick black paint. You know the small rusting motor on the stern that looks as if it's going to fall apart at any moment, and what looks like a hastily made patch on the side. Ah yes, the Stan-O-War... I think it said Stan-O-War 2 on it, if I recall correctly? Or did it just say Stan-O-War? Either way, it was a great hint at the backstory. There's no way this thing is watertight. Stan sets the two poles down inside, along with a tackle box, and gestures at the boat.
Well, there she is. A beauty, ain't she?
You look at Stan, then back at the boat, then back at him. It's a bit small, don't you think? Stan crosses his arms.
What, you saying you got a problem with my boat?
No, it's just... Compliment the man's boat. There's plenty of elbow room. It's pretty tight quarters in there. I'd rather not put your eye out with my pole today. Stan's frown dissipates, but he doesn't uncross his arms.
The Stan-O-War's accommodated Mabel, Dipper, and Suze plenty of times.
He taps the side of the boat with the toe of his shoe.
This old girl's more roomy than you think. Trust me.
Stan climbs down into the boat first, then offers you his hand to steady yourself as you follow him down. The boat wobbles a little, swaying dangerously away from your body, but Stan's grip is firm, and you're able to get in the boat without incident. Fishing boats, not my thing, honestly. I've been on boats before. The whole, the way they kind of rock away from you as you try to get on, terrifying. Utterly terrifying. I'm not even a strong swimmer, and I'd rather swim than typically get in the boat, but... oh well.
Whoa there, careful now. Wouldn't want you getting wet before you've even started. The footing's a little tricky, see? That plank has a habit of moving and tipping the whole boat way over. And when that happens, you want to swing your weight over here.
Okay, no, I'm getting out. Stan chuckles heartily, making it clear that he was joking. In your relief, you notice he's still holding your hand from the assist earlier.
I'm just messing with you. Don't worry, you're not gonna get wet, Toots. You're in good hands. And this, isn't the only fishing vessel I own. The other one's bigger, called the Stan-O-War 2.
Ah, yeah, that's the one that's called the Stan-O-War 2, okay. Creative.
Hey, I'm not joking this time. I've got pictures. Hold on. And you quit standing. Take a seat. Don't want you losing your balance.
You sit and watch as Stan digs out his wallet and opens it. It's so full of photos that several come free, fluttering down to the floor of the boat. Should probably grab those before they get wet. As you pick them up, you see that they're pictures of Seuss, the kids, and a teenager you've been told is Wendy.
This is the Stan-O-War 2.
Stan hands you an unfolded photo, which depicts him and Ford standing proudly on the deck of a comparatively larger, newer, and safer-looking vessel than the one you're in now. It's docked in a place you don't recognize, and the sky is bright, blue, and cloudless.
She's a resilient one. Sailed all over and never let me down once. Well, until me and Ford came back to Oregon, then poof, she sputtered out and we had to send her in for repairs. Something about sailing in extreme environments. Point is, I'm back down to the Stand of War Mark 1 over here. This old girl's got her quirks, but she's reliable.
I'm guessing this one needs fixing pretty often.
Yeah, just like my El Diablo. Every time it broke down, I just fixed it up again. Learned real quick what to do and what not to do under the hood.
He chuckles to himself and dusts off his hands before presenting his outstretched palm to you.
You see that big scar right across my palm? I told the kids I got it fighting off a big grizzly bear. You should have seen the looks on their faces. Thought I was some kind of hero, you know? But the real story is, I burned it on the engine when I was 16. Must have thought I was hot stuff, trying to change the oil while the car was running.
I'm already losing steam on Stan's voice. Oh dear. Oh my gosh, were you alright? That must have been so painful.
My pops called me an idiot for thinking the engine wasn't hot, but my ma cleaned me up in the end.
You remember you're still holding his photos and hand them all back, which he returns to his wallet with some difficulty. Hey, does that wallet just carry photos, or does it hold money from time to time? Stan chuckles at your teasing.
Nah, I just keep a lot of photos in there to remember. Keeps me grounded.
Oh yeah, that's right. Spoilers if you have not seen the Gravity Falls finale, but, there, at the very end, Stan loses his memory. And the way that they wind up getting his memory back is by showing him all these photos and going through a scrapbook that Mabel has. And, like, it probably took him a while to regain them. And even afterwards, I wouldn't be surprised if there were some lingering side effects, because we know that the memory gun has side effects. And he could, like, sometimes, because memory could slip away. You got the photos there to remember? That's good. So, yeah.
Anyway, let's get this show on the road.
Stan turns, busying himself with cranking the motor, and with a few pulls, it sputters to life, expelling a thick plume of exhaust. He coughs and attempts to wave it away quickly. Stan gives the motor a couple of good thumps, and it quits coughing, the engine smoothing out into a much gentler thrum. From there, he's back to focusing on untying the boat from the pier and easing it out into the open water of the lake. Glancing around, you spot the two policemen from your night in the clink, and you quickly duck out of sight, hoping to avoid being seen. Stan turns his head and notices you crouched on the bottom of the boat and quirks an eyebrow.
You hide from the sun or something?
No, it's those two cops from a few days ago. Stan whips his head around, spots them, and lets out a laugh so loud it startles you.
Who, Blubs and Derlin? Ha! I told you, those two are harmless! And besides, I think today they're a little more focused on each other than us.
You peek your head up over the edge of the boat, just enough to check out Stan's claim. Sure enough, the two cops seem to be engrossed only in each other, laughing and applying sunscreen to each other's skin. It's cute, you think, and relieved that they're not on the lookout to arrest you and Stan again. Thank goodness, that cell was way too cold to go back to. Stan gives you a nod of agreement, opening the tackle box. There's a bunch of colorful lures inside, a few hooks, and some spare string for the poles. He motions for you to hand him your pole, and within moments, he's got a hook tied to the end of your line.
You a live bait or a lure kind of person?
I have done some fishing before. I typically use lures. I don't think I've ever done live bait. I typically use a lure, so I'll go ahead and say that. I'll do that.
Ah, gotcha. I'm a live bait man myself, but I bet I can swing you over to my side in no time.
Stan picks out a feathered lure from the tackle box and attaches it to the end of your line, then hands you back your pole. The two of you settle into the relative quiet. As you wait for a bite, you look out over the lake at the other people outside today. Whether because he noticed, or whether he was just filling the lull in conversation, Stan starts pointing out faces of the locals, putting names to them, and giving you a little background on each person. You quickly realize that the background info he gives has too much of his opinion mixed in to be useful, but try to remember the names anyway. Wonder what he thinks of Toby Determined. Or I guess now he's called Bodacious T! Still, time passes easily, and you soon find yourself reeling in quite a few catches of your own. Looking over at Stan, you've clearly managed to catch more, but he dismisses the difference with the excuse that his luck's just waiting to kick in any moment now.
Seriously, any moment.
He glares at the lake for a minute, then lets it go, leaning back with a sigh.
Phew. I think it's time for a water break, don't you?
Trying to distract me so you'll gain the advantage?
Hey, if you faint out here, that's not gonna be on me, kid. You want a bottle or not?
Okay. Toss me one, would you? Stan leans down and digs around the bottom of the boat towards the bow, and comes away with 2 bottles of water, wet with condensation. He smiles and tosses you the bottle, and you catch it, twisting off the cap and taking a grateful sip. Until now, you hadn't realized how thirsty you actually were. Stan takes out his own bottle and starts chugging the water, clearly more thirsty than you are. Some of the water slips past the opening and drips down his chin and onto his shirt, darkening the fabric. Your palms suddenly feel very sweaty and you can't look away. Stan notices you staring and swallows, taking the bottle away and licking the stray moisture off his lips. Your eyes both meet, and for a long moment you both just stare at each other, neither daring to take a breath. Stan licks his lips again, slowly this time, almost deliberately so. Oh boy. A sound of a boat motor breaks the silence, and you whip your head around just in time to see a speedboat tear past you at a speed that's definitely illegal for a lake as small as this one. You have half a mind to share a very rude gesture with the driver, but suddenly Stan is grabbing your hand and shouting,
Look out!
Because the massive wave created in the speedboat's wake is headed in your direction. It slams into the dinghy and rocks it off balance, tipping it dangerously to one side before dumping you both out into the water, fish and all. Oh dear. The water is cold, almost bitterly so for being in the middle of the summer, and despite surfacing nearly instantly, you're already soaked in fish and shivering. The poles, tackle box, and the fish are long gone, and the boat floats upturned some distance to your right. You swim over to it and grip onto the curved underbelly, gasping for air. You hear Stan spluttering behind you, making his way to the boat. He's yelling at the offending boat, using some very colorful terms you've never heard before, but make a mental note to remember for later, for posterity. Once he makes it to the stanwar, he sags heavily against the wood, taking in deep, measured breaths. He, too, is completely soaked, and his wet shirt clings tightly to his body. As his chest heaves, you can't help but look your fill, then pretend to be very invested in scanning the lake for the 2 policemen when Stan looks your way.
Well, that's one disaster of a fishing trip.
You can say that again. Stan lets out a disappointed groan and starts pulling off his jacket before tossing it on the upturned boat. What are we going to tell Dipper and Mabel that their old uncle's lost his fishing touch?
Ha! You wish! I could outfish you any day!
I'd like to see you try, old man.
Old man, why I oughta...
He splashes water on you, and you shriek in mock outrage before a wicked grin fills your face. I'll splash him back. You rake your arm through the water, creating a big enough wave that splashes Stan, re-soaking him from head to chest. He looks shocked for a moment before letting out a deep belly laugh and returning the gesture with an even bigger splash. By the time Blubs and Durland come to rescue you, You are both so utterly soaked from the impromptu water battle, there's no way you're drying off in the sun. You and Stan exchange giddy smiles as Blubs heads back to shore, and something tells you that despite losing all the fish, you weren't going back empty-handed, and neither was Stan. The walk back to the car is slow and methodical, a relief after the adrenaline rush you had just had a while ago. Stan is wringing out his jacket, muttering under his breath something about damaging good Moroccan leather, when a sudden and violent cold chill runs through your body. Despite the warmth of the sun, your soaked clothes and the clammy skin from the water all catch up to at once, and you start shivering.
Oh geez, here, take my jacket.
Before you can protest, Stan is draping his jacket around your shoulders. New picture, oh boy. It's damp, but you're immediately surrounded by a sense of warmth, and your chills subside just a little bit. Somehow, despite having taken the dunk in the lake along with the rest of him, the jacket smells good, and it's got a faint woodsy smell to it, a hint of smokiness. It takes everything in you not to bury your nose into the thick of it. While you're busy taking in the jacket, Stan hops into the driver's seat and has the El Diablo cranked and running in a flash.
You need a ride back?
Stan, you are my ride.
I know, I'm just teasing ya.
He reaches across the bench seat and opens the passenger door, motioning for you to come inside.
Come on, let's get back to the shack. It's a lot warmer in here than out there, you know.
Back in the car. Stan flicks on the radio once you're cruising down the road, and a good song comes on, one you both know the words to. Stan is humming along quietly, and you pretend not to notice, not wanting to ruin a good thing. The breeze from the open windows is calming, and the trees whiz by, and as the trees whiz by you, you don't regret getting soaked anymore. It's not long before Stan pulls up to the shack and shuts off the El Diablo, and you both exit the car. Your limbs crack and pop from exertion, and only now do you realize just how exhausted you feel from the day's adventure. Man, you'd kill for a nice, warm, dry bed right about now.
Hey, Ren,
Stan halts for a moment and scratches the back of his head nervously. He's looking at the ground, shuffling his feet back and forth, trying to find the right words to say.
I feel kind of bad about getting you all soaked today. I promised you'd be in good hands, and then everything went right to heck in a handbasket, didn't it?
Stan, it's fine.
Do you like campfires?
What?
I asked if you like campfires.
Yeah, I like campfires.
Great! Hold on, I'll be just a few minutes.
You're left confused and standing in the backyard of the shack as Stan dashes inside, slamming the door shut as he goes. I feel like I had a little bit of an accent right there. Oh well. A chill breeze whips through the trees and you shiver. Despite Stan's jacket, you're still a little damp, and being exposed like this certainly doesn't help matters. You check your phone, and after several minutes, are ready to give up and head inside the shack when Stan comes through the back door, arms full of marshmallows?
Come here! I want to show you something!
Curious, you follow him over to what appears to be a makeshift fire pit. There's already wood and kindling inside, and part of you wonders if Stan always keeps firewood lying around, or if he prepared this just for you. He pulls a book of matches from his pocket and strikes a match, the head bursting into a bright yellow flame. He tosses it into the wood pile, where gradually the kindling ignites. It's not too long before you have a modest but warm fire at your feet.
I figured you're still pretty damp, and I'm sure you're hungry as heck since we didn't catch any fish, so...
He trails off and gestures at the fire and marshmallows again.
It's the least I could do for screwing up your day.
Stan? This is wonderful. This is wonderful, Stan. Thank you so much. Stan blushes just a little from the praise. You can tell he wasn't expecting it with that much sincerity.
Well, shucks. I'm glad you like it.
You're not sure how long you sit out by the fire, roasting marshmallows over the open flame. Stan's burnt his mouth more times than you can count trying to eat a marshmallow far too soon, and you've burnt enough of the treat to make even the Stay Puft Man weep. Stan picks another marshmallow out of the bag and turns it over in his fingers a few times like he's contemplating something before turning back to face you.
You ever played catch with these?
Huh?
I mean, toss them up and try to catch them again with your mouth.
Yeah, who doesn't do that?
Hey, I thought I'd ask. You never know with some people these days.
Suddenly, a grin spreads across his lips and he tosses the marshmallow straight up in the air, straight towards you.
Catch!
You lean back and open your mouth just in time for the marshmallow to sail right through your lips and into your mouth. You bite down, chewing with a triumphant grin. Victory has never tasted sweeter. Oh, I almost forgot. Suddenly, the back door flies open, and out come Dipper and Mabel, running up to the campfire excitedly. They're both in pajamas, but look wide awake as ever, and are already snatching up the marshmallow bag to dig in.
Are those marshmallows? Come on, Grunkle Stan, why didn't you tell us you were roasting marshmallows?
Because you should be in bed. I don't even know what I was saying. Because you should be in bed, Pumpkin, that's why.
He ruffles Mabel's hair affectionately and pulls her into his lap, handing her his roasting stick.
Nope, we're teenagers now. Teenagers don't have bedtimes.
Yeah, exactly. So, Grunkle Stan...
Answer still no, kid. You cannot go out on a 3-day camping trip to track ghost prints.
But Grunkle Ford supports my theory.
If you ask me, your Grunkle Ford needs a bedtime too. So, how was the live lizard birth?
Oh, it was so exciting! Granda Jr. was so relaxed, she didn't even realize Granda Jr. Extreme was being born right before her very eyes. And then, wait, Dipper, you tell him the rest.
Why don't you keep telling it? I didn't get a great look. Oh boy.
But I give you a front row seat right next to me. You saw the whole thing up close, intimately, unforgettably.
Oh boy. Dipper shivers, and not from the chill of the night air.
Okay, fine. So, Granda Jr. Extreme imprinted on Dipper. Isn't that the cutest thing? Little Dip-Dop and Mom!
No, it's not. I'm not little. I'm manly. You and Stan chuckle at the kids' antics and give each other knowing glances as you each pop another marshmallow into your mouths. The fire crackles, and you draw Stan's jacket further around yourself, feeling truly warm for the first time today. Oh, I think I did a good job. We didn't get a little special thing, but I do know, I went back to see if I could get, like, a good picture for the last one, because I know that you can find it. Like, the pictures that you get when you do, like, a special scene, those are saved. For some reason, there's already a picture for the fishing trip with, like, Stan soaking wet. I don't know why it's automatically there instead of having to be unlocked, but, I mean, I'll take it. But I guess that concludes this episode of Swooning Over Stans. So, if you guys enjoyed watching this video, go ahead and hit the like button down below, and leave a comment telling me your thoughts. Do you think did I miss anything? Should I have done anything differently? Was that picture of Stan actually supposed to have shown up and I did something wrong so it didn't pop up? Let me know. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit subscribe and you can watch more of my content as it comes out. The Swooning Over Stans series is uploaded weekly, so look forward to it next week, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe out there, friends.